Good morning. Welcome to News with a View, hosted by me, John A. Costa. Today is January 28th, 2026. This will be episode 18. I do have a quick correction to make on yesterday's show. About midway through, I stated Article 5, Clause 2 in the Bill of Rights. It's actually Article 6, VI, Clause 2, which is the Supremacy Clause. So I want to fix that right away, get that out of the way. I always said if I see that I've made a mistake, I'll address it. If you point out something other than Bob in New York, which is just rhetoric from the feeble-minded left, that it's just like a gnat flying around me, I will make the correction, or at least address it. And if you think I made a mistake and I'm right, I'll just say, hey, listen, I checked it, I'm right. Or I'll say, I am wrong. It's that easy. It's not hard to say. It's not an embarrassment to say you might have gotten something wrong. Okay? So I'm fine with that. All right, let's go to today's show. Yesterday, I said, I'm sorry, I'm still battling all this, and it's never going to go away. So you'll have to bear with me. In yesterday's show, I said this week I'm going to probably do the whole week. As I started out on Monday and Tuesday about ICE and why we're in the situation we're in today. So, Sunday, again, referring back, Tim Walz crosses a line that he cannot walk back. On Sunday, Democratic Minnesota Governor Tim Walz made one of the most toxic rhetorical weapons in modern politics. He invoked the Holocaust victim, Anne Frank, and made the suggestion that children in Minnesota are hiding in fear. Language framed federal immigration enforcement as something just like the horrors of Nazi-occupied Europe. Now, it boggles my mind when people on the street say those things because it's just stupid. But when you hear the governor of a state come out and say it, it shows me just how ignorant this individual is and how he wants to ratchet up. Because what did we do to Nazis? All right? This Tim Walz is dangerous. We have got children in Minnesota hiding in their houses, afraid to go outside, Walz said. Many of us grew up reading the story of Anne Frank. Somebody is going to write the children's story about Minnesota. Well, they might write a story about it, but Tim, you need a slight history lesson here. And it's surprising no one else gave you this history lesson already, or I hadn't heard that someone did. Anne Frank was Jewish and a citizen of Germany. Even though she had fled with her family Germany and went to the Netherlands. And she was classified as countryless when she was captured. To even make a comparison of Anne Frank and ICE making legal arrest of criminals is dangerous and ignorant. Anne Frank was a German citizen who was arrested by German troops. Germany were arresting their citizens and then other people, but they're citizens. ICE is not arresting citizens. They're arresting illegal criminal aliens who have no right to be in this country. For Tim Walz to make a statement like he made, as I said before, is dangerous, dangerous rhetoric. And I mean, honestly, he must be called out with this. The idea of late night hosts for years, fascists. We're fascists. Everyone's a fascist. They have no idea what a fascist is. Locking us in our homes, telling us we can't go outside, telling us we can't see family members, telling us that we must take a vaccination, telling us they'll cut off our supplies, our Social Security, you won't be able to go grocery shopping unless you do this that the state tells you. Hey folks, that was fascism. Guess who was the president? Noodle brain Biden. All right? That was fascism, just so you know. Fascism isn't being proud of your country or patriotic. That's not fascism. That's called patriotism. You don't understand that because most of you liberals out there are ignorant and are on a very low IQ in the history department. Bob in New York. All right. Governor Walz making ICE agents Nazis, federal agents carrying out legal duties that Democrats failed to adhere to under Obama and the Biden administration. Am I lying? Are my facts wrong? Part of the reason for the ICE operations is directly caused by Democrats who had no respect for our immigration policies and laws for years. Am I wrong? Point it out. 30 million illegal aliens were systematically shipped all over our country in the dead of night and in secret by liberal, The liberal-backed media refused to ask pointed questions when leaks about these movements were discovered, and when Fox and other right-leaning media outlets demanded answers, they were called racist, fascist, and Nazis. I remember when the Democrats were calling Bush II a Nazi. You like throwing that word around. You have no idea what that word means. You're ignorant and you're low IQ people that use that term. You're ignorant and low IQ people. You think that's an easy go-to and that, everyone's afraid, I don't want to be called a Nazi. So, screw you. Screw the Democrats. Republicans, get out there, drag your family out, have them vote Republican. Get these monsters out of office that are sitting there today that are Democrats. Get them out of office. And I'm being fair here. And I say get these people out of office because for years they allowed this mess to build up. They're inefficient. They're irresponsible. And now we must make them irrelevant. It is time for the Republican Party to get behind the president, to get behind the leadership, get behind each other, and fix these problems. And when I say fix these problems, I want you to fix them through the Constitution and through our laws that are on the books right now. We don't need too many new laws. We just got to obey the ones we have that we're being fought every step of the way. Mayor Fry made a statement, told Trump that Minneapolis is not going to follow federal law. That is a misstatement by him, and it just shows again, the ignorance of these politicians. You must follow federal law, but you don't have to use your police force to carry out federal law. But your city, your town, your state still must obey federal law. This is the ignorance of these politicians today. How they got that far, not knowing our Constitution, not knowing our laws, amazes me. Amazes me. Beyond. Now, Trump is pulling back some people out of agents out of Minnesota. The ICE border czar is being replaced. And that is fine. These things can happen, and if you're not happy with the people that you have working for you, you get rid of them. If you can't get them to conform to what you want. But by no means is this going to stop Trump. Trump is just going to get tougher. And will use the law. You have the governor and the attorney general there, Keith Ellison, useless piece of crap, and probably will be going to jail shortly. Who says that, they want a federal judge to limit the amount of agents that are allowed in the state. You could ask that they not come to the state. But there is no limit of them, how many he could send. Doesn't exist. He could send one, he could send 1 million. That's the way that works, folks. And yet you have these people riling up their mentally limited, IQ'd people, paid protesters, funded by Soros and funded by some fat Chinese guy. And, they have the same signs protesting California, Colorado, and Minnesota. They all have the same signs in one day. How is this all being funded? How are these people being paid and compensated? And I am all for the IRS looking at some of these people, finding out their names, and checking. How were you able to make these trips and travel and do everything? Family give you money, you're going to have to show it. And that's not weaponizing the IRS, folks. Because the IRS can come in and ask and look at stuff and go, how'd you do that? If you only have $12,000 coming in on Social Security and you traveled here, 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 and here, unless you hitchhiked, did you hitchhike? Where'd you stay? I stayed at people's houses. Then that's fine. Great. You took donations. That could become a problem too. Paid protesters, very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. All right. So we go deeper. Go try to use the so-called AI to find out information. Put in how many shootings took place by ICE under the Biden administration. Comes back, there's no statistical data available. Put in how many shootings took place under the Trump administration. They go all the way back to his first administration and second administration. They spit out all these numbers. Try to find stuff out of Obama. Not there. Can't find it. We can't put it together. It's because this AI that they're talking about on the internet, it's not AI, it's a freaking database, and it's only as smart as the information that is contained in it, that it's made to point to. And if it's not made to point to, look at a Fox News story, look at a BuzzFeed news story, it won't contain it because it doesn't know to go out and look at it. The whole internet AI baloney. So, if you ask any search engine how many people have been shot between 2021 and 2024, guess what? AI states there's no statistical data available. If you search how many people were shot by ICE during the Biden administration, it will not give you any answers. Yet if you ask the same question using Trump's name, you get statistical data. How interesting. So I went further. And I said, give me 2015 to 2024. All of a sudden information comes up. 29 shootings of people by ICE agents resulting in 23 deaths. Now, in that mix is Trump era and Biden era. And you look at it and go, oh, wow, there were 59 shootings, maybe only heard of a few of them up until Trump took office again. But if you consider the amount of arrests to the incidence of violent shooting outcomes, these figures are actually very low compared to state data of police shooting and the use of a gun by police in the act of arrest of a criminal. So from 2015 to 24, there were 59 reported shootings. You want to try to figure out how many shootings there were throughout America? It's going to be a big number. Now, in 2024, under the Biden administration, ICE made 149,070 arrests. 113,000, I won't give you the end number, of them with administrative warrants. The same warrants that everyone's crying about today, that Trump is using, that ICE is using. Same warrants they were using under Biden. And this is just 1 year statistics that I grabbed. Over 35,000 arrests were judicial warrants, meaning of the total, it was like 148,000 arrests. 35,000 of these arrests were of criminals, violent criminals, not DUIs, not shoplifting, these were assault, killings, rapes, sexual assaults. 35,000. How many riots do you think there were? 2024. How many protests? In 2024. Yeah, none. None. Very, very little reporting by the left media. But there were mentions of arrests and numbers were posted on other news outlets. Everyone was okay with these arrests. Tim Walz never called Biden or ICE a Nazi. If you break this number down, it was 410 ICE arrests per day in 2024 under the Biden administration, which is not bad. Now, when you look back further, it was less. Biden only started jumping on trying to get the public's attention that we're strong against the illegals, which was never the case. Just using 2024 data, said 113,000 illegals, 57,000 of illegals, that's 140, had substantial criminal records. Of those criminals, 13,623 were released back into the general population. They cut them loose. Under the Biden administration, arrests were lower and the release of criminals between 2021 and 2023 were much higher than in 2024. So, in his years, he cut them loose. Cut them loose. 11% of these criminals had violent criminal history who committed more violence and more violent acts after their release. So, now you have a president, now you have Donald Trump running for president, using this information and saying, hey, this is a problem. And people know it. Store owners know it. If you went shopping in New York, in California, you saw shoplifting every day, and they'd look at you, laugh, put it, and walk out the door. And then these stores would disappear and go out of business or move away because we just can't have this. And the Democrats will start screaming they're moving out because they're racists. They don't want to serve the people of that community. You see how the Democrats use that word? And that was kryptonite for most people. Didn't want to be called a racist, didn't want to be called a Nazi, didn't want to be called a homophobe. And they knew it. They knew it. Guess what? Call me a homophobe, call me a racist, call me a Nazi. They're all not true. But I'm not going to plow myself into the corner of the room and try to hide. Because that's all you got. Because now I'm going to tell you, you show me where that is. You point that out to me. Show it. You called me that, now show it. They can't. They walk away and they go, just listen to you. Now, tell me. Show me where. You call these people out, and then you call out a liberal and you start doing that, then it's every F word, every MF word, every curse in the dictionary, and then they scream at you. So everyone around them, like pod people. It's not happening. It's not happening again. 2026 midterms, I'm going to tell the Democrats, you're crushed. I can tell you that now. You're all running scared. All right, under Obama, 12 million illegals were managed. He called them managing them. Those are illegals we know of. Those are the people that he gave TPS to that we knew about. There were 5 to 9 million people that came across the border that were never interviewed, never given a status. They just walked across and blended into the countryside. What does it cost America as a whole to care for all these people? Well, put that into Google, Grok, Copilot, whatever you use for a search engine. And it's 150 billion tax dollars. And that's a lowball estimate. The estimates go up as high as $300 billion per year. So, this amount is not even with private donations and groups that also help, because those aren't tax dollars. Unless they came through the NGOs. Those pesky little NGOs. Which won't be contained in the statistical data. So, how did we end up here? Failure of prior administrations, both Democratic and Republicans, who turned a blind eye while looking at our borders, is why we are at this point in our history of America. American voters agreed with President Trump's second-term campaign to end the open border policies of Obama and Biden and to deport illegals. Yeah. Voters also connected with President Trump's demand for fiscal accountability of our federal agencies. Doge. Trump wins. Democrats and even some Republicans are in a panic over how deep the president is going uh, uh, to go to look at fraud in the federal and state levels. They are panicking. And there's Republicans in there too, folks. I said I'm fair. It's not just a blue state issue or blue versus red. This is green versus blue and red. Paid protesters who have complete Democratic approval to derail and slow down the president's promise to make America great. And violence has always been the key element of the Democrat underground movement. Violence. Go back to the Chicago riots, during the DNC conventions. Go back to the Yippies. The Democrats have always funded, in our history, violence. That is their turn to when they can't make a point, when they have no point, or when it's discovered they're lying. They resort to violence. We haven't even touched upon the 14th Amendment issue, which is coming, folks. And the government shutdown, again, is right around the corner. You don't hear the Democrats talking about that. Where $150 or $300 billion could help offset health care for people. Wouldn't that be wonderful for the citizens of the United States? Who I do believe deserve health care. The Democrats had no problem giving it away to illegals. They got Medicaid. And Medicaid is better than Medicare that I pay for. No. Democrats can't hide who's to blame here. They only need to look in a mirror to find out that answer. All right. I was keeping the show down to about 35, 40 minutes. I'm at the 33, 34 minute mark. Again, correction of yesterday's show when I cited Article 5 of the Bill of Rights. I'm sorry, that's totally wrong. It was Article 6, Clause 2. I got the clause right. Damn Roman numerals. But the rhetoric of Chris Mays of Arizona, the rhetoric of Obama, Bill Clinton, Walz, these are all panics because the circle is getting tighter. And they know, these people know, a win for the Republicans in 2026, where we keep all the seats or expand. I believe we're going to expand. I have no doubt in my mind that we're going to lose seats. Brother Don doesn't necessarily agree with me on that, but he didn't think Trump was going to run again in 2024. where I said that was already predetermined the day after the election was stolen from him. Bob in New York. I'm going to give you a call today, Bob. See how you're doing with the snow. I don't know how much you got on the island, but I know you're not a snow person. Neither am I. All right. With that, tomorrow's show is going to be on what's going on with ICE, the removal of people, some statements made by the Trump administration, some statements made by Vance, Vice President Vance, that kind of counter a little bit what Trump is saying, and which is fine. You could have disagreements. That's wonderful. And then again, with there's still a big fallout on what the Attorney General of Arizona said about, it's all right if people shoot ICE agents who are masked and on their property. It's a huge statement to make, and she's saying she was people misinterpreted what she was saying. No one misinterpreted what you were saying, because even the host of the show that was hosting you questioned you 3 times and finally came out and bluntly asked, "Is this what you're saying?" And she was, well, yeah. She didn't say no, that's not what I'm saying. She needs to resign. And if she doesn't resign, the people of Arizona should demand her resignation. And how do you defend what she said? Can't. All right, so that's today's show. Everyone, please give to a charity. Pick that charity. Make sure they're a fit for you. And do that. Donate to food banks. They need food. They need money. Money helps them pinpoint exactly in an emergency how to proceed. Say a prayer. Prayer does work. This Sunday at Socrates Station from 12 noon to 4 p.m. in South Carolina, there is a spaghetti dinner special with all proceeds going to charity. They were supposed to have a big golf outing, but it's going to be 19 degrees here. I don't think you're going to get many golfers out there. So if you're in the Myrtle Beach area and it's cold outside and you want a spaghetti and meatball dinner, there's a small donation to make. There's going to be raffles, and it's a fun time. And that is at Socrates Station in Socrates, South Carolina. All the help that they can get. They do a lot of charitable events there, and we have a great time, and it's fun, and it's all locals, but everyone is welcome. And with that, I'm going to say a prayer. Prayer does work, regardless of what a Democrat will tell you. And with that, I am... interesting. I stopped recording. Fade to black.